Tony. Tony.
I don't know what you want from me.
Tony. You want to fight? You want to fight? All right. Well, that
was an intro.
It's about as borderline experimental as it gets on this show, but I think it fits the theme of our subject matter tonight. But welcome back to another Director's Cut. This one is for Nicolas Winding Refn. So before we get into intros and everything, I want to be able to say that I'm saying his name right because I've heard it both ways. Is it Winding or Winding?
It's Winding.
I always say Winding.
I say Winding also, yeah.
Okay.
His movies are not long-winded.
Oh, nice. Yes, the Winding.
Now, to hear him pronounce it, it's Winding, but he said that while wearing sunglasses indoors during the day for an interview with Vice. So who knows, man? You can't ask that asshole anything.
Yeah, exactly.
A straight answer. I'm really sad I did the prep work. I wish I'd just been like, yeah, I've seen his movies and done no research for this.
That's exactly what I did.
God, the more research I did for this, the more I was like, I really wish I hadn't suggested this director.
You were really excited about this director, and then like,
oh, I used to like him.
You just saw the digression of the once Jason went down the rabbit hole little by little. He's like, this guy fucking sucks.
I was just updating the group, man. Well, don't. It's not that
you
he
wanted
sucks.
to talk about him.
No, it's not that he sucks. It's more nuanced than that, and we will reveal how I really feel in due time. Let's just start the episode.
All right, here, let's start the episode. So take it away. This is Mr. Jason Alt.
Oh, so I'm starting the episode. Those of you who never tuned into this podcast before, this is Director's Cut, where we talk about directors, not their movies, but the directors themselves. We do that by summarizing their movies. We don't really have a good handle on what we're supposed to be doing so far.
I said intro yourself, not the show.
Hey, man. I'm just getting our criticisms of ourselves up top. I'm Jason Alt. I'm a part of this podcast. I'm allowed to be here. I'm also a member of the Brainstorm Brewery podcast, which is a Magic the Gathering finance podcast, and I do a sort of writing and comedy things on the internet. I'm pretty famous, but no one's ever heard of me.
Kind of a big deal.
Once you have a decimal point in your number of Twitter followers, you get to like big dick people, but like no blue check mark. I'm under 10K followers, so like I don't matter. So dude, that's all you need to know.
My Twitter followers just hit the mythical 666 last night. I don't want any more. I don't want to lose anybody, but I don't want to gain anyone either. I think this is just kind of perfect because I'm that much of like a hipster asshole where I think that's cool. But yeah, Mr. Tony Walters from Rad Entertainment, you're back. What's up, dude?
Not a whole lot. I think you just said it right there. I'm from Rad Entertainment. we do like movie reviews and things like that. I just put a review out for Venom last week. You can go check it out. I think I'll put a review out for Halloween next week. That's probably what's going to happen. Monday night, Spoiling Dead. Talk about Walking Dead. That's all we got going on currently. Maybe.
Dope. From Real on Real, writer for oh god, now Geeks I feel like an asshole. Geeks of Color. Thank you, Mr. Manny Castellanos. What's up, dude?
Nothing much. Back. Just thank you for having me back. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's what we do here. Anyone have special guests tonight? We're talking about the fluffiest, trashiest director working in the business. So that's what I wanted my beer to match that. So I'm drinking a coconut porter from Black Raven. This is called the Coco Jones. It is the neon demon of porters. It just tastes like, you know, a little kid, like coconut milkshake. So I wanted my beer to be as trashy as my movies. Anyone else?
I wanted something that felt familiar to me, so I'm going with Short Soft Parade, which is my lawnmower beer. I've always got the fridge stocked with this. It is a blackberry, raspberry, strawberry ale. It's fantastic.
Nice. That is quite the label.
It's also 8%. It'll knock you on your ass.
Sweet.
I have a Funky Buddha. It's called Last Snow, Coconut, and Coffee Porter. It has a roasty... I
didn't get the note that we were drinking coconut porter tonight.
Yeah, what's up?
It's
in the show
has a
notes.
roasty flavor to it. I'm not a fan so far, but I started it, so I might as well finish it.
All right. This tastes like a German chocolate cake. Tony, you got a special guest? A Pabst?
Nope. No, I don't have a Pabst this time. I've got an American session ale from Three Floyds called Yum Yum. And
Nice.
it is exactly what it says. It is Yum Yum.
Nice. Do you guys, you and Jason kind of live in the same region. Have you ever seen one of those, Jay?
We don't get much Three Floyds. It's really tough. It's their fault. They're not distributing too widely.
Right.
So like I got to go to them and I go like, hey, do you have any zombie dust left? And then people laugh at me. So
I just got that last week.
yeah, good stuff.
That's good.
Nice.
Yeah. Zombie Dust is one of those like nationally known beers. It's very good. Three Floyds does some excellent stuff.
They really do, and we're lucky enough that in our small town, nobody gives a shit about craft beer, so I can just go to the grocery store and pick it up. It's just there.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, this one's right down the street. They make it right down. It's very light for a porter. You can kind of see through it. It's not as much. I don't know. I want a porter or a stout that I could chew on. This is not that. This is more like the body of like a Newcastle, but just tastes like coconut. So it's kind of dumb, but it's great. Just like what we're gonna talk about. So
just like these movies.
Man, this is it's like watching these movies is like getting a toothache for your brain. It's just so much great overindulgence. You feel kind of sick after each one. But it's just like, I don't know. It's so hard because I get done watching any of these and I'm like, this really hurt, and I don't feel good. But is he a genius? Is he not? I don't know.
Okay, so I watched his movies. I watched all his movies. I'm like, this guy is a fucking genius. He's a genius. And then I made the mistake of seeing interviews he gave. I watched probably 3 hours over like 10 different interviews.
Oh man.
And you know what? He's not a genius.
He's just a hack.
He's not even. He didn't make hacky movies. He made accidentally good movies. He fell ass backward and like he didn't understand what he did, so he tried to repeat it, and then he would have a different thing bounce his way. Like he accidentally made good movies that I really like, and I was like, oh, I kind of think I understand all the visual metaphors he was going for. Because I wanted to verify my interpretation of the visual metaphors. And then in the interview, he's like, none of that was intentional. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Stop talking. You're ruining it. Shut up. Like, I realize I can't tell you you're wrong about your movie, but you're fucking wrong.
My favorite thing about him is the whole colorblind thing, because I didn't go as deep in the rabbit hole about him or his interviews, but he is very open to say that he just ups the contrast on everything so he could see it.
I love that effect.
Yeah,
because that's something Paul Thomas Anderson did on purpose in Punch Drunk Love. He's like, I cranked the colors way up, but what I want you to do, he wrote this in the liner notes of the DVD. He's like, turn up the volume real loud, turn the lights out, and jack the color until the edges of Barry's suits bleeds. I'm like, cool. He's like, watch it like that. I'm like, that's cool. And this is what Refn does just because he can't fucking see anything. And I was like, nobody understands color composition in Hollywood better than Nicolas Winding Refn. And then you like hear an interview and he's like, yeah, I'm colorblind. I just smash my hands on the keyboards.
Tony, you've actually made films like watching Drive and watching of course Neon Demon. It's like the lights are way blown out, like there's everything is a camera flare. These are all types of things that you're trying to avoid, right?
I mean, not necessarily. It's definitely like an artistic style like that he's going for, and it's gorgeous. Like that's why I love his movies, is because I'm a cinematographer and every single frame of every single movie is just gorgeous. Like he's a visual storyteller for sure. There's not a whole lot of dialogue within his films, so everything that's on screen every time, like with every movie,
that was an accident too. That's seriously what you'll notice. When we go through, you'll find the film where he was like, "Oh, what if my protagonist doesn't talk?" And he like plays this off later by like, it's really unsettling and mysterious when someone doesn't talk, and it leaves you unsettled. And that's what I want my audiences to feel. I'm like, yeah, that's why. Ryan Gosling just smirked at the camera for 2 hours in 2 back-to-back movies.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people say that like, there's a lot of like style over substance with his work. That's like like the biggest criticism of it. But he's a very visual storyteller. Like he lets the lights and what you see on screen dictate the story.
And he would be a genius if it were intentional. Like he would be the best filmmaker of all time if he did this stuff. Like I'm so disappointed. I'm like the kid that came downstairs on Christmas night and found his dad putting presents under the
tree. Yeah, it's just wild because yes, he's a visual storyteller, but are the stories even have substance enough? Because yes, I get it. Like I'm not an idiot. I get where he's going. I get that, like Only God Forgives is like a fairy tale, and I get all the things that he's trying to convey. But then once I get it, I'm like, so like it's not
exactly.
No, and I think I get it. And then he gives an interview. He was like, "No, that's not it at all."
Right. So it's
like, Demon. He's like, "Oh, halfway through making the movie, I like Jenna Malone's character so much, I made her part bigger and made the focus about her partially." And I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Oh man, you could tell, like towards the third act specifically, you could tell.
Yeah,
it's like you didn't even know what you were doing.
You could tell he was getting annoyed with Ellie Fanning too. He was just like, let's just kind of put her through the ringer and kind of spotlight more of these ancillary characters. The cool thing about his movies, though, they always start out something. They start out wholesome and then become grotesque, like something like Drive. It starts out more like a Nicholas Sparks film, and then it turns into just utter mayhem. It's almost like I was sitting there watching, and I'm like, this is borderline like a chick flick. Like,
I know. Sort of like, "Hi, I drive," and she's like, "Hi, I have a son." He's like, "I don't care. I'll hang out with your son."
Yeah,
"Oh, I have a husband." That's okay. He's gonna get shot in the face.
Right? Yeah, it's so romantic, and then until he's stomping someone's face.
Christina
apart.
Hendricks' head explodes. Yeah.
Oh man. So great.
He's like, "I like you. Let's have a slow motion smooch like in some shitty Frank Capra movie, and then I'm gonna kick a dude to death in the elevator right in front of you for 15 whole seconds."
Yeah, and zoom in. I mean, he is definitely a violence pornographer. He
calls himself a pornographer.
Yeah.
How fucking pretentious is that? I was like, I wish I never heard you say a word about your movies.
That reminds me of like Gaspar Noé, like that. He did Enter the Void and like Love, and he makes like Love is just a porno movie straight up. It's an artsy porno.
Oh yeah.
So that's what it reminds me of.
But this is violence porn. This is this is blood porn. He just wants to take like, especially towards like the end of one of the movies that we're going to talk about, one of his later movies. It just goes so off the rails. It becomes a parody of itself.
For sure. Maybe we should jump into the movies.
Yeah.
And get into this, because the more you guys keep bringing it up, I want to like kind of defend some of this violence. But,
Okay.
but I don't want to get all into it.
I'm not shitting on the violence. I love the violence. I think it's great. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's the foundation of what it is.
They're always two different movies. Like that's my biggest problem, and also why I love him. I love and hate this director so much. Is every single movie is I'm into this story and I like this. And then this all happens. I'm like, do I like that part of this story, or vice versa? It's like I don't really like any of this, but I love this part. Like this whole end is cool because he always makes two movies in his movies.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first couple are all Dutch films, right? It's all the Pusher series. Danish. Thank you. It's all the Pusher series, the Pusher trilogy, Bleeder, and then the one with John Turturro,
Fear X.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm going to kick off to Mr. Manny, our special guest today, to kind of run through just kind of a summary of like what the Pusher series are all about.
Mr. Manny, are you his housekeeper?
I guess I am now.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Manny, I need more lemon pledge.
No. The Pusher series is about drugs, an excess amount of drug users, dealers, abusers. The first one, I really enjoyed it. It has this really strong kinetic energy to it.
It was like a Guy Ritchie movie, I thought. That's funny. John watched it and he's like, this reminds me of Train Spotting, and to me it reminded me of Lock, Stock.
which is kind of the same. I mean, a little bit.
A little bit. It seemed like he was influenced by British movies around that time. And this was 96. This was around the same time as Lock, Stock, and Trainspotting. These all, for whatever reason. And this was so British that they just remade Pusher and just set it in London, and it was the same fucking movie. There's nothing uniquely Danish about this. Oh, yeah, you didn't see the reboot?
No, I didn't. I know there is a reboot, but I never saw it.
Yeah, it was the same movie.
All right.
Which is fine. I liked Pusher, so.
Yeah, it was one it's definitely not, this series is not along the same lines as what we've been talking about. It's a lot more grounded, obviously. They're just mob movies. They're little mob kind of heist, low-stake movies that are very similar to the ones that we just kind of described. I'm not saying that they're bad. They all got like huge critical acclaim.
Well, he knew this would appeal to people. He had never directed or written, and he did both just audaciously. That's like he uses the word audacity. He's just sort of like, I'd never done this, and I just wanted to do it. Like, the reason he identified with the character in Bronson so much was the quote, "All my life I've wanted to be famous."
Right.
And I remember seeing that in interviews like, all my life I wanted to be famous too. He made this movie so he could be a movie maker. Like, and
it worked.
It's pretty basic. There's nothing like spectacular about it. It's just, I don't know. It's like everybody's first gangster film. It's like it's
not nothing I've seen before. Like, I've seen this before. It's presented differently in a different like environment. Well, even then it felt familiar, I guess.
I mean, not everybody's first movie is Reservoir Dogs. I get it.
But it got such high acclaim. Like I said, this was up there with the other ones that were like that time. Do you think it was just because it was coming out when that kind of film was popular? Yeah.
Like, if you remember the European stuff that was coming out in like the mid to late 90s, it was, Run Lola Run, stuff like that. Real frenetic cast of character crap. Like, Guy Ritchie said he wanted to call Snatch Helter Skelter. But because Charles Manson wrote that in someone's blood, and they're like, hey, maybe you don't.
Different choice, possibly.
Maybe you don't call your movie Let's Roll 9/11 if it's about bowling. Like, maybe let's call it... You don't have to piss people off. So, like, that's kind of what it was. It was this frenetic, look at all these wacky characters in the underground. Oh, they're bumbling. This wasn't as funny as Snatch or Lock, Stock, but it was still kind of the same things. Like, here's the morality tale about the guy who tries to make some quick money and fucks it up and ends up in bigger trouble. They've made that movie before. This was a good effort. For a first-time writer and a first-time director, this was,
fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was very competent. It showed that he had a lot of promise, and I think that's that's what people responded to, I think. And he got kind of the gravitas to put himself out there and I guess get loaned more money to make other movies
until he really fucked it up. Yeah.
Yeah, until he was the guy in Pusher who was broke. I kind of like the arc this series took, where it was about one character, and then the second one was about
Tony,
Mads Mikkelsen's character, who was sort of like an ancillary character, and then the third one's about a different ancillary character. So I kind of like how, even though it was a trilogy, it was more a string of vignettes.
But he didn't want anthology series in a way.
He didn't even want to make Pusher 2 or 3. He had to do it because he was broke.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. They're like, you owe us money. Sequel. What is I guess basically we need to sell Venom toys, so go ahead and jam him in the third Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that they really wanted to make Dumb and Dumber 2? No.
Right.
They just needed money.
Jeff Daniels needed to do something.
Exactly.
Well, Jeff Daniels got paid like $200,000 for Dumb and Dumber, and Jim Carrey got like $12 million. So.
Right. He got more than the driver. Oh man. Yeah. It's just.
I can just imagine like a Dumb and Dumber scene with Jeff Daniels, like, you got paid. They gave me the IOUs from the briefcase. Yeah, that's a Dumb and Dumber reference.
At least it's not a Deuce Bigelow reference. I'll just
Thin Dick. All right. But like this was fine. We don't need to like visually. This wasn't. It didn't feel like his movie. You know how every once in a while someone will make a movie like he didn't have his visual style figured out yet. He just sort of made a movie. He pointed a camera at people doing crazy crime stuff and like it was fine. But like everything kind of before Valhalla Rising felt, or maybe before Bronson kind of felt different visually. And then he started to be like, well, what if I fell in love with my own, you know, with my own press and started seeing myself as an auteur and started jerking off on celluloid a little bit more. So like this doesn't really look like Ladder Refn that I like. Anybody could have directed this. So, I mean, it was a good movie, but if you're trying to put this in the pantheon of like the rest of his movies, a lot of this early stuff doesn't fit because he didn't know who he was yet.
It was like a Danish version of The Wire a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, you could flip through it. Even if you don't have subtitles, you could get the gist. It's not that's the one kind of overarching theme is the story isn't like super crazy. This is the debut of Mads Mikkelsen though, as an actor. And I thought he did pretty good. He did great.
If you need
to get a sequel,
creepy looking, if you need a creepy looking dude, Mads is your guy. He's he's crushing it right now.
I don't know. He looked scary to me, like in the sense that like I wouldn't want to fuck with this dude like ever.
Sure.
Yeah, he's just like all Danish people look like that because we're inbred. I can say that my wife is a quarter Danish.
There we go. Last week,
mother sister's side.
Last week it was the Jews. This week it's the Danish.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't know. Manny didn't hear. Last week we discussed whether or not I could say. He thought I was Jewish, and he encouraged me to say the word Jewy, but I didn't fall for it. That's all that happened.
Doesn't Jason come off as a little Jewy?
He does. Boy, hey, let's just move on to Bleeder.
All right, Bleeder. I didn't see it, so anyone else want to?
Bleeder was the perfect. You don't need subtitles to find the opening scene of this movie hilarious.
I couldn't find this movie anywhere. Like not even on Amazon.
Mads Mikkelsen's working in a video store. This guy comes in and asks for videos, and Mads Mikkelsen lists like real quick, rapid fire, like 25 directors, styles, all this stuff, like real quick. And the guy like is just quiet while he's listing all this shit off, kind of like flexing his nuts, like, "Hey, we're in a video store. I know all this stuff." And then the guy waits for like 2 minutes, and he's like, "No, I'm looking for porno." And so the manager takes him in the back, and then the manager starts listing off all these different kinds of porn they got. Like even without subtitles, I knew exactly what that scene was, and I thought that was hilarious. And what's even more hilarious is like it was such a great, like frenetic sort of like rapid fire type humor, and then no one else in his movies has ever said that much dialogue. Like Mads Mikkelsen said more words in the first 30 seconds of Bleeder than Ryan Gosling said in Drive and Only God Forgives combined. Because he figured out, hey, what if no one talked? What if I didn't distract from my visual medium without this pesky dialogue? It's like, are you colorblind or color deaf? Like, why is anyone saying that?
Gosling's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing to look at than Mads Mikkelsen, too.
Not really, because the reason that Ryan Gosling was picked to be in The Notebook is because he's unfuckable looking. Like, Hollywood's like, seriously, that was what they said. They're like, we want someone average looking that, like... But then people like him as an actor so much, they're like, no, I'd totally fuck that dude. Like,
yeah, my wife would totally disagree with that. Well, I think my wife is currently fucking Ryan Gosling right now.
Good.
I'm not even mad.
Well, hook me up.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
he's a good-looking dude.
Yeah, like
I get it.
He's supposed kind of like plain everyman looking kind of a dude, but then everyone likes him so much. They're like, no, he's super fun, and like he just managed. He's a heartthrob now, but when he first started out, he's just sort of like, I'll play whatever weird character you got. Murder by Numbers sounds good. So yeah, like I don't know. I feel like Ryan Reynolds is a good
Ryan Gosling. Same shit.
I'm clearly gay for Ryan Reynolds, and that's
that's fine.
On the topic of fuckable Ryans, I can't make myself say Gosling. I'm like, no, not him.
Do you have to be fuckable to be a Ryan? I think that's true. I've never seen like an ugly Ryan.
That's very fair.
What
Right?
about Private Ryan?
I mean,
Matt Damon?
Is that Matt Damon?
I mean, it's Matt Damon, yeah.
Matt Damon's had a few, right? He's maybe, I don't know. All right, yeah, that's Bleeder. That's our review of
Moving
Bleeder.
on.
No, but Bleeder again. It felt like another kind of Pusher type movie. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah,
I don't understand Danish, so it was. I couldn't find this movie with subtitles anywhere. I'm not paying $11 or whatever Amazon wanted to stream it, so I just sort of watched it without subtitles, and I got a lot out of it. Because again, that's a good thing about like if you got Drive in like Spanish with no subtitles, you'd be like, that's fine. There's 11 lines of dialogue. I'm missing nothing.
right. Yeah. What was it? A little bit more stylized, like the shooting of it. Was it more stylized than the Pusher series, at least? Like, was he? Was
He
it a
figured out
progression?
if you put an askew camera in the bottom corner of a screen and look up at people, like you could do that. Like he
That's
figured that out.
Tony, have you figured that out when you're making your movies?
I like to put it up in the top corner. Instead.
Ah, that's why you're a true artist. Perfect. What's the other one that I keep forgetting? The Jon Turturro one.
T-Rex.
Yeah.
You know what you could do is you could open up a bunch of tabs in IMDb like a
Not really.
professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everybody else.
Like the three of us.
Instead of just, hey, what is this? What are we doing?
You're too busy wrangling us. What's next? Is it Bronson? Are we to Bronson yet? I don't know.
I'm good at delegation. Here, I'm opening it. All right, yeah. Did anyone see this one? The Jon Turturro movie?
Did, and it's not the worst movie Jon Turturro made by a long shot. But that's not saying much. That's faint praise.
Yeah.
It's my least favorite of Refn films because
oh yeah,
I saw it like a couple days ago and I can't tell you anything about it.
Ooh,
it's kind of forgettable for me. Like it felt like he was trying to do, like it felt similar to like Twin Peaks and Insomnia. At least to me. That's how I.
This is the film that everyone said that David Lynch is like laughing in this guy's face.
Well,
yeah, I can see it.
He went Lynchian, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They spent a lot of money on this movie.
Didn't work out.
He lost a lot of money on this movie. I mean, he spent $6 million on it, but like he financed it personally, which is crazy.
And he paid Jon Turturro a lot of money.
Well, if he made the whole movie for $6 million, he sure didn't. And James Remar was $6 million. That's a guy.
Yeah.
Do you remember James Remar? He's Dexter's dad. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. Tony, you didn't see this one either, did you?
No, I'm just over here quiet. I didn't see any of this shit.
I mean, it was Refn's worst movie, but at least he was taking some risks.
Mm-hmm.
And this was Insomnia, what, a year before Insomnia came out?
Yeah, it was like 2003, I think. And
this was 2003. This was before Pusher 2 and Pusher 3.
Yeah, so it came after Insomnia.
Yeah, this is where he lost all his money and like was broke. And then he accidentally fell bass Ackroyd into a bunch of money for making a documentary about how broke he was shooting this. Like there was a documentary about how fucked he was. Like, whoa.
There's a documentary on like. There's a documentary about his wife also. Like when he lived in Bangkok filming Only God Forgives.
Is that Agatha Christie Marble Nemesis? Oh no. Never mind.
What?
I'm looking at his IMDb, but yeah.
Oh, so you found that website?
I did. Yeah. Did she made did his wife make the score for one of the Neon Demon too?
No, that was shit. What's his name? I looked all this up before so I wouldn't look like an idiot, and then I just
Cliff Martinez.
Cliff Martinez, yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. I thought she did the main song, the one that was playing during the intro.
Wasn't that? It might have been. It was someone related. Someone with the name Refn made that song.
Yes, yeah, or Winding or whatever. Yeah, whatever. Unrelated. This is yeah. So that movie, tanked his whole kind of career for a little bit, and thank God he bounced back with something pretty great, in my opinion. I'm so looking forward to talking about Bronson because this is the one time that Jason has to say something nice about Tom Hardy.
I sure don't, and I will not.
Oh, come on. How could you hate on Tom Hardy's performance in this fucking movie?
Well, just wait.
Well,
Don't spoil it.
Okay.
Don't spoil it.
Jason or Tony, what did you think about Bronson?
Bronson is my favorite Refn movie.
We're skipping Pusher 2 and 3.
We already kind of summed him up. Yeah.
We didn't.
I mean, they're pretty different. Maybe Pusher 2 is pretty different. I like Pusher 2.
Pusher 2 is good. Pushy Boogaloo. It's Mads Mikkelsen was front and center in this one. This was good for him.
That is good.
This was because he was in Casino Royale a couple years later.
Yeah,
which kind of launched him in the in the United States and got him
Doctor Strange, and yeah, he's making films now. I feel like he had and then he had oh god, he had the Hannibal, yeah. And he fucking just killed it in that.
Yeah, this guy works. Anytime you need somebody creepy with an accent you can't place because nobody knows anything about Denmark. That's true. That's why Danish people are such good actors. They're like, yeah, can you sound like you're from Sweden? They're like, yeah, sort of. And they're like, all right, cool. You can play any Scandinavian, and you can also like creep people out. They're like, is he from fucking Transylvania? What the hell? Like, if you look creepy, you sound creepy with a Danish accent. So, that's good.
Yeah, it's something that I'll eventually kind of circle back and watch those two, but I don't know. The other ones were so like seriously, like Neon Demon. Even though I saw it bits and pieces like when it came out, and then I actually did like the whole sit through the other day, and I was just like, God, and I couldn't turn another movie on for a while. After that, but again, we'll get to that. Obviously, I really want to talk about that film, but yeah, is there anything else that I'm missing out about the Pusher series before we could get to?
I mean, he made him for a paycheck. There was nothing particularly good about them. He made them under protest, frankly.
Yeah,
I mean, they benefited if he had the money, the experience. Basically, if he'd been set up to make Pusher the way he was set up to make Pusher 2, Pusher would have been a better movie. It was his Evil Dead 2.
But Evil Dead 2 was great.
Yeah, exactly. Pusher 2 was his Evil Dead 2. He was like, oh, I know what I'm doing now. I wish I'd made it this way the first time. So he focused on Mads Mikkelsen. It was just whatever. He just made the movie for a paycheck. Yeah. Same thing with 3. And he didn't really change his visual style until this next movie. Okay, we did it. We got to Bronson. He calls autobiographical. This wormy little dipshit from fucking Denmark's like, decided to make an autobiographical film about Britain's most violent criminal. Fuck you. You pretentious dickbag.
That's fine, but we're all better for it. It was incredible.
I thought it was good. That was the first Refn film I saw. I saw like in high school, like years ago, and I was just like, I was confused at first because it's such an unconventional biopic, but it's so like enticing to watch that like I guess couldn't look away.
I don't want Tom Hardy to talk.
Dude, it's so good. Tom Hardy's amazing. He's so amazing. He's even wearing Charles Bronson's mustache in this movie. Like they shaved his mustache off, and he is actually wearing it. It's great. It's great.
I bet you like Venom too. Why the fuck do people like Tom Hardy?
There's a review for Venom right on my channel. You want to go check that out? Let's plug this.
Yeah. It's this film. It's like it plays like a play. Like it plays like a Broadway performance. Literally, and I'm not just talking about when he's on, a theater stage, kind of addressing the audience, but it's just so much fun. I think this is his, even though the subject matter is about the most dangerous criminal in the prison system in the UK, this is a comedy, right? Like it's very art house, and there's some shots in this film that are just absolutely stunning. That they're just like the best shots like that I've ever seen in any movie. But then it could kind of digress into something a little bit more lighthearted and comedic, and then it's very uncomfortable. While you're watching this film, it feels like you're in the room with this guy. It's just like, okay, can I make a joke? Can I laugh right now, or am I going to get my teeth kicked in? But it's a good kind of good kind of tension from a comedy. I think this is just a fucking blast.
I think this has what they were talking about with like the Pusher series, that like what was going on in the late 90s with the like British films and things like that. Like it has that element to it, but this is also Refn kind of finding his kind of artistic style that he's more known for, but it's a good blend of the two. So it does have a lot of dialogue. It's not really slow paced like the other movies. There's a lot of action going on with this. I loved this movie so much, and this is something that's like just stupid, but I loved it so much. I watched this like a lot when it came out. It was my first introduction to Tom Hardy, my first introduction to Refn, but I loved it so much. I was like, Mom, you need to watch this movie.
Oh no.
And my mom was like, what is this movie? And shut it off like, I don't know, like 20 minutes into it. She's just like not having it.
That was probably the right choice.
No, she didn't get to see his dong then.
So much Hardy dong in this film.
So much screaming.
She still brings it up to this day, though, when I recommend a movie to her. She's like, is it going to be like that one time? And I'm like, no, Mom, it's fine.
I'm with your mom. Your mom sounds cool. Sounds like she's got good taste. I wish I'd shut this off after 20 minutes. I don't know. I just think Tom Hardy sucks. If this had been the first Tom Hardy movie I had seen, I would have been like, all right, who's this guy? Let's give him a chance. But it wasn't. So already I was like, is he going to do a weird, stupid fucking voice in this movie for no reason? And sure enough,
he doesn't though. In this, well, he's supposed to. He's
got more like a Cockney accent. It feels like a little bit.
Yeah.
But for like, he should know how to do a Cockney accent and doesn't.
Because he... Oh man,
you can call me Charles Bronson. What accent is that? Nah, I'm Tom Hardy.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a fucking character.
He hung out with Bronson for like a while before the movie. They shot the movie, and
but Bronson's a goddamn phony too.
I know, but after they made the movie, they got Bronson's approval before they released it. Like they let him watch it in prison before they released it.
He thought it was hilarious.
Make my cock look bigger in post.
There's a really good documentary, like a whole like behind the scenes featurette on all the interaction with Hardy and Bronson, and it's great. Like they became like pretty good friends. I think they're still pen pals, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
that's sweet.
That's something.
Oh, so he writes Tom Hardy a letter and somebody reads it to him.
Oh man, I like I saw a little bit of trivia that the real Charlie Bronson, I guess he goes by something else now. He always kind of renames himself.
A third name?
Wrestlers. Yeah, it's
Christ.
Something like Ruiz or something now. But he was yeah. He became best friends in prison at one point with the twins that Tom Hardy portrayed in Legend. So in real life, Tom Hardy universe really happened, and that's trivia that you can't unknow now.
Ronald and Reginald Cray.
There you go. The Cray brothers were like good buddies with Charlie Bronson in real life in prison.
Wasn't a fan of that movie.
What?
Yeah, I didn't like Legends. I don't know.
Oh man,
I like Tom Hardy, but
I can't think anything I really liked Tom Hardy in. He wasn't bad in Warrior because he was getting punched in the face.
Warrior was terrible.
What? That movie's great. Oh, I love it. What about
Lawless? He's pretty great in Lawless. Is he Lawless?
I don't remember much of that. I saw you.
Nobody cares.
I didn't say Warrior was good. I said I like seeing him get hit in the face.
He was so annoyed in that fucking movie. He just walks in, punches someone, and walks out. Like that movie was god fucking awful.
No, Lawless was bad. His accent was bad.
Was that the one with Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah,
it was.
Oh yeah, I like that movie. Yeah, that movie was good. I couldn't understand anything that Hardy said in that one. I'll have to agree with Jason.
He's like, you got to sound like you're from Virginia. He's like, don't worry. I'm going to like go on YouTube, type in Virginia accent, watch a couple videos, bingo, bango, bongo. You'll be re-recording all my dialogue in post. Just like every fucking movie.
Yeah. And he's like whispering during the entire time. I'm like, what? Yeah, I couldn't understand that one. But
12 different voices we tried, and this was the one we went with.
I love his Bane voice.
I love it too. There's something about it. It's just
it's medicine.
That was the one they went with in post. I was like, there was a Bane voice worse than this one. That was so bad.
This is about one.
This isn't even the worst one he did. Wow. Okay.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know, man. How could you not have fun with this movie? It was so much fun. I thought it was great.
It was weird. It was kind of like if the entire movie Clockwork Orange were just one soliloquy from Alex.
Sure,
that was Bronson.
Yeah, you wouldn't watch that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
No, Jesus, especially not when you later hear the director be like, "Oh, this is autobiographical for me because we both wanted to be famous." It's like, that
does sound very pretentious.
Talk about this movie made me like, oh no, I think Refn's an idiot. I think he actually has no idea what he's doing. Oh no,
this is what did it. This was the smoking gun.
Hearing him talk about this movie.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Like just, he found his visual style, but like he also started loving the smell of his own farts too much with this movie.
Oh, sure.
He's like, maybe I am a genius. Like you accidentally make a profit, and you're like, what do I do next?
Where the fuck I want?
I made 2 sequels to my first movie that was accidentally good because it was like every other good movie from that era. Why don't I just make a movie about how I'm actually Charles Bronson? So, sorry, Michael Peterson.
Yeah.
Wasn't Michael Peterson the guy that killed his pregnant wife? No, that was Scott Peterson. Whatever.
Yeah. He was more...
Whatever. In conclusion, Tom Hardy sucks.
Oh, God. Fine. Tony?
I'm glad you guys like this movie. Visually, it was good.
I'm glad you guys like this movie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you couldn't enjoy it like us.
I know, right? Why, you give me shit for not being able to like open my heart and like Raising Arizona, which is a shit film, but you can't like Bronson?
I wasn't able to make the Coen Brothers stuff, but Raising Arizona is great, John.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You're alone there.
Tom Hardy.
Where's Jay?
Raising Arizona. Raising Arizona was a person, and he was in a lot of movies.
Oh, God. Just shoot it. All right. What's up? What's next? Hold on. I'll find out. I'm hosting this, right?
Valhalla Rising.
Valhalla Rising, which is where he was like, hey, for no reason, what if the guy can't talk? And then he's like, ooh, people were unsettled by a guy who doesn't talk. What if no one ever talked again?
Oh, man. Tony, what did you think about this film?
I think this movie is a lot of being in a cage and then fighting and then being in a cage and then taking a bath and then fighting and then being in a cage and then walking and then fighting and then walking and then walking some more and then like
hey, watching The Walking Dead.
And then hey, it's red now for some reason. Now it's red. It's gonna be red for a minute, and now these people are gonna be painted orange. And now I'm Odin, I think, and then it's over.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a little kid involved. I don't know.
Wasn't it green for a second too on the boat?
I think so.
Green. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not sure. Probably.
It was sort of like he's a master of color. He's like, what if the entire movie made Saving Private Ryan look like Neon Demon? What if I just, what if everyone wore brown and the background was brown?
Yeah.
And then the dude smeared himself with mud to camouflage himself. Yeah. What is this movie?
I don't know. I'm so glad I'm not the only one that hated
you know
this
why?
film.
Because if you ask Nicolas Winding Refn, he's like, well, there's a lot of this movie is a lot of things. Like, you don't know either. You just like, what if a guy was a cage fighter and then he just got beat up by Native Americans? What if that happened?
What? Manny, you look like you want to defend this.
I mean, I don't really want to defend it. I thought it was good. Nothing like not as best, but it's not like by any means bad in my opinion. I thought it was entertaining. Again, symbolisms. I think he's Odin, like Tony said. I'm not sure.
Well, he had visions. Why did he have visions? Why does everybody have?
I can't answer
visions?
that.
Same thing with Turturro and Fear X. He's just like, I have visions. Why? No one has visions in real life. What the fuck are you doing?
I can't defend that. But it looked cool. It looked it was pretty to look at, that's for sure.
That's the thing. I kept watching it and I kept just like literally trying to find an excuse to look at anything else in my house. And then I'm like, God, am I an asshole? Like, is this a masterpiece or is it shit? I just don't know.
You know what's weird though? I don't think this movie looks very good. Like, as far as like Refn's films go, I think that like as far as like when he found his style, like I don't like the way this movie looks. I think that all of their faces look weirdly CG, like they've got like that smooth
like
filter
Uncanny Valley.
No, they got like that smooth filter that you get like the Snapchat, like, you know, like the mouse ears bullshit or whatever. Like it's got like that on everybody's face. Like, everybody's face looks a little polished, and all the lighting. They shot this whole movie in like broad daylight, and then he was like, "Now we're gonna just make it dark in post because for some reason I wanted this scene to be at night now." And so all of the lighting on all their faces are like from the sun, but it's nighttime, and it just pisses me off.
He did night today. Oh, why is he doing night? This guy is a hack.
No. I mean, some people can pull it off, and it's a thing that used to happen all the time. Like the opening scene of Jaws was definitely shot during the day, but
right,
clearly at night. But yeah. So the movie is like, he's like, I want to play around with color and lighting, but we shot all this shit in broad daylight. But now I feel like playing around with lighting and color in post. Like there's a scene where there's a bunch of scenes, but where they're talking at night, and it's like they blacked out everything and they put spotlights on their faces. Like there's like, let's light up the faces of all the characters, but that's it. There's no fire. There's nothing creating that light. It's just like,
and then his colorblind ass is like, pretty good. And then
right.
We're done.
Yeah. The chat is just like upset with us right now.
Upset with us or upset with me?
Well, you mostly, but I think we're all
they're wrong.
Oh,
tell them I appreciate them watching the show. They're all entitled to their opinion. I really love that there's a spirited dialogue going, but they're all wrong. Tell them that. Oh, I just told them that.
You just kind of did, yeah. No, but I don't know. I still feel like when I was done watching it, I'm like, God, do I need to watch this again? And I'm like, God, I want to do anything else but watch this again. But
what if you watched it 5 times and you're like, I get it, and then you heard an interview where he was like, nah, that's not it. That was
like before or after
every one of these fucking movies. Some of these I'd seen within the last year and still watched them again, and I'm like, I think I understand the visual metaphors he was going for, and he's like, nah, that's not it. I'm not a hot lady, and I wondered what it would be like to be a hot lady.
Oh,
so Neon Demon is an autobiographical movie. Hot lady.
Everything's about me. The violence is sweet in this, like the gore. He does gore
he
great.
Snapped that guy's neck with the rope. I thought that was pretty cool.
Like a minute into the movie, you're like, "Oh, it's that kind of film." All right,
yeah,
and it wasn't.
And then
it's like, it's just like Drive. It's like that opening scene. Then you're like, "Well, it's gonna be a boring hour." Then,
right?
If that's the movie you thought you were watching, you're gonna hate the next hour. It's a lot of walking. It's like, what if we took the Lord of the Rings trilogy and just took all the walking
of none of the substance,
and that's it?
I want to know more about it so I could figure it out. Like, what were those visions about? Is he really Odin? What the fuck does this really mean? Like, that's just.
But he didn't have a plan. He just he honestly has an idea about a guy who has visions, or maybe about the visions, and then he writes that in the movie, and then he has some other ideas, and he's like, oh, that would fit in the movie too. It's just he just cleared out his fucking leftovers into one weird movie casserole and then just baked it, and then everyone's like, wow, I understand the visual metaphors you're going for. He's like, really? Because I don't.
Your fart smells fantastic, sir. The one thing that we didn't mention about what Refn does is he shoots everything chronologically. I think the only thing he didn't do that was the last film he did was in Neon Demon, but he shoots everything and he doesn't shoot it out of sequence. He does everything from and he like edits and not in real time like someone like Edgar Wright, like Tony and I talked about before. But he does edit like same days. Like he'll do a shoot and then he'll go edit it that night. That scene that he shot. So I don't know if that's good or not. I mean, obviously, because the stuff is still interesting to look at, even though, like Tony said, that it's not the best looking film. There's still moments in there where I'm just like, fuck, is it me? Like, is this just great? Oh,
it's hard to turn your head away from his film.
His composition is so great.
I went in thinking, this guy's fucking great. And then it feels like everything he did well was an accident. And that just left me feeling so disillusioned and sad.
If you didn't hear anything he had to say and you watched Valhalla Rising, what would you have thought? Would you have been like, oh, it's pretty sweet?
I'd have been like, there's some religious symbolism I'm missing. That's what I would have thought.
Sure.
I would have assumed like, well, I should have fucking paid attention in CCD because I don't remember any of this shit. Is this story of the Christians taming the savages? Is it vice versa? What's the deal? Is it a bunch of dudes in Scotland thinking they can get to Jerusalem in a rowboat? I don't.
How did they travel to? How long did it take them to travel to the Americas? Like
enough time to run out of water, I guess.
Like, how did they survive? Like in a rowboat of all types of boats. Like I don't know. That part was really kind of like left my head scratching. Like what, really? But I don't know.
Yeah, it just this was my, because I didn't watch the John Turturro movie. I still can't get it right. This was my least favorite of the Refn films, and not close. Even though I'm still like a little bit internally struggling, like I do kind of want to give it a second go, just in case, because
performances are great.
Yeah,
great in it. The composition's great. Even the kid in it's cool.
Fine.
Like
yeah,
like I mean.
Not bad for a child actor.
Right.
And substance? That's like probably the question.
I mean, I think that it's like it has an illusion of substance.
Yeah. That's the best way to describe it.
Like the movie's like, oh, it's like so nuanced. There's all these messages I'm missing. But I mean, I don't think so.
It's like it's the Emperor's New Film. It's like, oh, I didn't really think there was much to it. And you're like, oh, you didn't get it, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm so worried about. Like all
everyone's punking us with these films, and like the fucking director doesn't know what he's doing. And then you watch it, and you're like, I think I got it. And everyone's like, this dude only thinks he got it. All right.
Mads Mikkelsen isn't really even a person. He has, he's birthing the universe out of his one, fucked up eye. And I mean, that's what like people like super hipsters love Refn, because you could really take. It's very ambiguous, right? You can take the material and kind of paint it and have it say whatever you want it to say. But I know what he's trying to say, because I'm not stupid. Like, I've seen film since I was born, and I get it. Again, it was just boring. This film was just not good. And that's what I'm sticking to. I'm not gonna flip flop anymore. Valhalla Rising just sucked ass.
It reminded me of that Banderas movie, 13th Warrior, and
dude,
how is this not as good as that?
Yeah, 13th Warrior is awesome. I love that.
What was it?
It's great. It's great. It's like what is it? It's like inspired by Beowulf. It's a Beowulf movie.
Yeah, I was like 13 when I saw it, so I just assumed that I thought it was okay because I didn't know anything. I haven't gone back and rewatched it.
Okay. Well, now that you say that, I mean, I haven't rewatched it since high school.
No, don't. You know what?
This sucks.
Yeah, honestly, as someone who discovered he hates a guy he thought he liked as a director because of this project, don't go rewatch it. Just your cherished memories of that film are much better. Just let one thing be good. A monster as president. We're 10 years away from a climate apocalypse. Refn accidentally made some good. Just let's have one good thing.
Just enjoy it.
Just preserve it. Keep it safe.
Just eat the Cinnabon. Don't ask how it's made. All right. Let's move on, because that movie is trash.
What do you mean the Cinnabon? Is that like an idiom I don't know about?
No, I don't know.
How was this made? Cinnamon and flour.
You think of the Cinnabon as such a hollowed thing. It's like there must be angels like ejaculating on it, in the back room, because it's just so goddamn delicious. But once you find out, it's
sugar and salt. You're like, all right. I wish I didn't know it was my three favorite things.
Exactly.
Fat, sugar, and salt all in the same thing. And then we top it with sugar. All right.
It's not angel jizz. Oh.
Well, all right. Who knows? Maybe angels jizz Cinnabon frosting. You don't know.
Let's find out. Maybe one day. Drive. Drive's a film. Manny, you want to kick us off on Drive?
I really enjoy Drive. I think it's a really interesting film.
Did he just fall over? Come on!
He walked out. He walked away.
He's just getting a beer.
I walked away from my statement. Like you're wrong. I really enjoyed Drive. I thought it was pretty good. Like those first 10 minutes of like the driving was exciting. And then after that,
I like the driving.
After that, it's more like it's
you sound like a guy doing a book report on a book he didn't read. My favorite part of Drive was The drive-in.
Please don't berate our guests.
I'm drinking.
Great Gatsby was great.
I like the Great Gatsby actually.
Keep going, Manny. Don't listen to him. Just you and me.
No, I just enjoyed it. It's not. I don't think it's his best, but I don't know. There's something endearing about it.
Opinion? What's your favorite?
Only God Forgives.
Oh,
nice.
That's a ballsy.
Well.
I don't know. I was mesmerized like by both times I watched it. I was like, whoa. But we'll get to that later.
No, that's fine. I can't even talk about it now.
Give us a little rundown of Drive, Jason.
Okay, so this is my favorite Ryan Reynolds movie. I'm going to keep making that mistake until I blow one of them.
That's how the Cinnabons are made.
So it's a romantic comedy about a guy who is a stunt driver for Hollywood, and then he does like odd getaway driving jobs, on the side, trying to finance a boondoggle where he wants to be a NASCAR driver and work his way up from the circuits, and like he's not making enough money at it. So his boss, I guess, the guy that gets him the jobs, gets him the cars, he works in his garage. He's his manager for all the Hollywood stunt driving stuff, played by Bryan Cranston, who's fucking great in this movie.
Oh yeah.
He borrows a bunch of money from a loan shark. So they can. It's Albert Brooks and Ron Perlman kind of together. So two Jewish dudes who run a pizzeria, which is
Perlman is not Jewish.
He is. Perlman is in the movie. He's not in real life.
In the movie, yes, but they could have picked
anybody. I know. They're just like, I just like Ron Perlman. I'm like, fuck, that's legit.
Yeah, I don't.
Whatever.
I like that.
Ron Perlman is the best.
Sure.
He's like the opposite of Tom Hardy.
Hey, I'm like 5'8", and Ron Perlman is shorter than me.
What?
So,
really?
Yeah, no. I saw him at Horror Hound earlier this year, and he walked past me, and I was just like, no way. Like
that probably wasn't Ron Perlman. It was probably somebody in Ron Perlman cosplay.
No, he was like 3 or 4 feet away from me. He was like right in front of me. He was walking his dog out.
Ron Perlman is 6'7".
He was doing a sign. No way. Well, I mean, he's also super hunched. So he's just like...
He's 6'1". I looked it up on IMDb. He's 6'1".
No way. That's a lie.
Tony, really 6'4".
He looks like 6 feet. Yeah. Like, I can believe
IMDb lists his height at 6'1". I don't know what to tell you.
Well, IMDb is wrong.
Yeah, they're lying.
IMDb is just like Wikipedia.
That's his gross height. It's adjusted for the Chinese box office.
IMDb
to a Chinese man.
What kind of dog was it?
IMDb is like a terrier, but IMDb is like Wikipedia, and anybody can edit things. Just so you know.
Yeah, every night someone changes Ron Perlman's height back to 5'7", and every fucking night he comes back and changes it to 6'1".
That's exactly what happens.
Ron Perlman's watching this right now, laughing his ass off. I fucking got him!
Smoking a cigar that looks huge.
Rebecca,
she's so small.
Rebecca was right there with me. You can ask her. I mean, not currently right now, but
all right.
I believe that you saw someone that you believe to be Ron Perlman. I'm not calling you a liar.
We were at his signing booth. He was there. We were at his signing booth. He was walking his dog out of the building. We were on a weird tangent. By the way,
Ron Perlman's body double. He's like, "Hey man, people. Ever since Sons of Anarchy, people are trying to shoot me in the face. I said some mean shit about Trump. You saw Tom Waits. That's what happened."
Ron Perlman looks like he's wearing a mask anyway, so I totally buy the cosplay.
I was like, when are you going to take that prosthetic chin off? He's like, what? This is my actual face. I look like I'm 98% chimpanzee. Well, all humans are 98% chimpanzee, Jason. What a shitty joke. All right.
Scientist humor.
He borrows the money from the loan shark, and then it turns out that the driver, whose name is never mentioned, because whatever reference.
Because Fight Club.
Just driver.
Because of Fight Club.
Because he saw Fight Club.
What's your name? I drive. Or someone says, what's his name? And he just smirks at the camera for a minute. And then Oscar Isaac is like, hey, man, what's your name? And he's like, just stares at him. He's like, all right, cool.
I know,
Nice
right?
to scene with you.
What's up with this guy?
So Oscar Isaac, by the way, is the husband of the
Carey Mulligan.
Carey Mulligan, but he thinks, I guess, is a single mom. I don't know. She's his neighbor. She's got a kid. She's alone. Her husband's in prison. Gosling starts hanging out with her. I gotta say Gosling. I don't want to call him Driver. Anyway, he starts hanging out with her and like having a good time. You know, just being a nice dude, helping out with the kid. He's sort of like, oh, this is what having a family feels like. So he likes them so much that when Oscar Isaac's character gets out of prison and he gets the shit kicked out of him because he has to pay back protection money, which is, I guess, like a theme in Refn movies.
Sure.
It's like that's how people get in trouble. They borrow money from loan sharks, and so he's got to pay protection money. So they're like, okay, one job and he's out. He's agreeing to do this job as a driver for free if it gets him out of Hawk or whatever. They go to rob a pawn shop. The money belonged to some East Coast mobster, and one of the loan sharks that loaned the money to Cranston was behind the heist. So the whole thing falls apart, and Gosling, everyone else dies. He's left with a bag of money. He just wants to give it back and be out of it, but like for whatever reason,
well, he wants the family to be protected too.
Yeah, insert clumsy allegory about the scorpion and the frog. He tries to give the money back, and then there's like, oh, we got to kill you anyway because it's mob money. We can't have any witnesses, and like none of this needed to happen. The whole thing, none of it was necessary.
And then he puts on a Ron Perlman mask and kills Ron Perlman.
Yeah, so it was a good movie. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people liked it so much they wanted every movie he made after this to be this movie. But it wasn't.
Well, there's some blood relation, I think.
Yeah, I would say like after from Drive forward, it's kind of like you could see like, his films have the same type of DNA into them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony, this is so similar to another movie. I think one of your favorite movies of all time, Baby Driver.
I mean, I wouldn't say similar. I mean, they're both drivers, but this movie for me, I really enjoy Drive a lot, and my issue with Drive is just when shit really hits the fan and like becomes ultra violent at the end. I like that it goes ultra violent, but I hate two moments, and when it's like when he stomps the dude's head in the elevator and it explodes because it looks just like cheap as hell and like just I don't know, it's a little too over the top. And when he shotguns the dude,
yeah, it looks like a Troma Studios head.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it looks like.
If you put a wig on it, people won't know it's a cantaloupe full of red food coloring.
Right. That is exactly what it looks like, and it just takes away. It's a little too jarring. Like I understand the purpose and why he's like going for like just the ultra violence in the end, but it's just a little too over the top for me to be believable. Take that out, I think it's like a perfect movie. I really enjoy this movie a lot.
I like when it was stylized violence though, because like you said, like Christina Hendricks' brains just get splattered in. Refn doesn't shy away from action violence, which is great.
Yeah.
He does close-ups.
He tries to shock people.
Yeah,
he's not. Yeah, he calls himself a pornographer, but at the same time, it's a little bit like, hey, look how fucked up violence is. None of this was necessary. Like this didn't need to happen. Like it's almost like you're supposed to be horrified by it and upset rather than the glorification of violence. It's not like a latter Die Hard movie where he's just like, it's not Rambo.
Yeah, he wants a
reaction 30 guys with a belt-fed machine gun. This is
he wants you to get a reaction out of it. Like he wants you to be upset about it, but and I like that. I like that he treats violence in a way that is he uses it to make you feel uncomfortable, and I like that. Except
I think no, go ahead. Sorry.
I just think that in a couple of those moments, it's so over the top that it made me laugh. Like when he stomps a dude's head, I laughed audibly. Like,
yeah, I think it's an indictment of American movie culture coming from Europe, where it's like, oh, so you can show a dude's head getting caved in, but you can't show a nipple. That's fucked up, and it kind of is. Because in Denmark, they teach sex ed to 2-year-olds. I made that up.
Do they really?
You believed it. You're like, oh, how progressive. You didn't know. You believed me. So
I was about to look it up. That's why I was
it's 7. It's 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
But
It's like if
he
you're
does
old enough
want
to reach the bar, but if you're old enough to reach the, anyways, yeah.
I see your thumb when you so so I think it's almost like he's almost like Verhoeven making RoboCop, where he just the violence is over the top because he's indicting American movie culture.
Like when Oscar Isaac gets shot like multiple times, it's just in slow motion. You see the blood splatter everywhere.
Yeah, it was Peter Weller in RoboCop, right?
Yeah.
He's on his knees, he won't fall down. It's just bullet after bullet rips through him. Yeah.
I think that
it was Platoon, right? Like
just like,
but they're violence money shots though. You guys are saying like he wants you to feel the. I think he wants he's obsessed with it. He's obsessed with showing the gore. He wants the reaction, but not in like, oh, this is a heavy moment. No, he wants to make. He's making art with blood instead of paint or whatever. I think he's really.
But he wants you to feel uneasy. Everything he does makes you feel uneasy. Like the color turned up to 11, so it almost bleeds like you're car sick. Like the music being loud is unsettling. The Ryan Reynolds not saying a fucking word this whole movie is unsettling. Like people ask him a direct question, he just smirks at him, and you're like, that's weird. That makes you feel upset. The cartoon violence is upsetting. The fact that Ron Perlman's supposed to play a Jewish dude named Nino is upsetting.
They call him, but like Albert Brooks calls him
that Nemo's dad is a murderer with a knife collection.
He has an Italian name, and it's Ron Perlman, a Frenchman. He's not Jewish.
Yeah, so it's the fact that Albert Brooks kills all these people is just crazy.
That is great, though. Like,
an 80s Jewish comedian, hamina, slash. It's over now, no pain. I killed up there. I killed. Like everything was designed to make it. The fact that Christina Hendricks doesn't survive the movie when she's
for 10 minutes,
the best looking woman on the entire planet.
Yeah,
damn straight.
And the best character on Mad Men. If you go back and rewatch it, you're like, oh, she's the only one that isn't a piece of shit.
Was that a debate? I don't know if that was a debate.
Never got into Mad Men, so.
Well,
I didn't like
Christina Hendricks is the best character easily on that show.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything's designed to make you feel upset. He's like, I upset you. It's like someone doing their first open mic, and they're like, I said the N-word a bunch, and everyone left because I got a reaction.
It's edgy.
It's hard to make people laugh, but it's easy to make them get up and leave. I got a reaction.
Let's talk about the score real quick, because the score is something that is, as much as the lighting and the contrast and all that is very much a part of Refn films. The score is definitely a part of that
too.
The
soundtrack or the score?
Both.
Okay.
A little bit of both in this film, because I think they were both a character all on their own. And like you said, there were points where it became an actual character when they're at Oscar Isaac's comeback party from prison, and he's just trying to Ryan Gosling is just trying to fucking build a model in his room, right? And it's just like the constant noise level, and then he even comes out of the room, they're trying to talk over it, but it's just like perfect music selection for this. I don't know how much I could credit him for this, but
no, he obsesses.
Okay,
he obsesses over he listens to music for just weeks.
Well, he does that right.
Shit. And he got into this. I like this kind of. It's like a neo-noir film. So he picked this throwbacky, like this music, this like 80s retro stuff.
It was like watching Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Like
yeah. But like people are making music with like Moog synthesizers and shit, 80s style, but it's new bands. Like Kavinsky is on the soundtrack, the Electric Youth, the Chromatics. Like this has an amazing soundtrack.
He really does. Like the when the credits roll, I think the song's called Nightfall. It really just kind of sets the tone for the whole movie, and it's just I love the score and soundtrack to it. It's just so it has the perfect fit with the film.
What was really cheesy was the Electric Youth song "A Real Human Being." They wrote that about Sully Sullenberger. They wrote a song about the pilot who landed the plane in the Hudson River, and he used that in this movie. Because I wanted to make a movie about a guy who's a real human being, because I think as an auteur, I'm a real human being and a real hero, and a real human being and a real hero and a real human being.
I don't know.
I think that song's a little cheesy, but like
now it is. Now that I know,
yes.
Another thing that I'm like, hey, at least you could do,
the more you know, the more it gets fucking ruined. I'm telling you, the less you know about Refn, you're like, he's pretty smart. No, it was all a fucking accident.
What do you think about his music choices, Tony?
In all honesty, it's been a while since I've watched this movie. So,
but I mean, just in general, in all
particularly. Well, I mean, I just watched Neon Demon today, and I loved that soundtrack a lot.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
A lot of techno beats to it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't even like techno like at all.
Right.
But I really enjoyed it because it was very what do you want to call it? It's like a synth like synthwave
it's
stuff.
Called synthwave, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like techno, but I do like synthwave. So
because it makes you nostalgic for a time when you were 2 years old.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, the 80s were the shit. No, they weren't. I was in diapers. But like it's weird, like feeling nostalgic for like 80s culture, I guess. It's like, oh, 80s music makes me remember 1992 when I saw Lost Boys for the first time. For whatever reason, like people that are my age that were like 2 in 1987, love synthwave. I don't know why, but it's just
cool. I was born in 87, and
shit makes me feel great. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a music style that I don't seek out. I wouldn't just put it on while I'm like vacuuming the house, but it's something that I like paired with the right visual medium. So when it's paired with the right movie, I just absolutely love it if it's right. Like the music and the score and all that, it kind of was reminiscent to Lost in Translation a little bit. Like Lost in Translation had a lot of that, just a great score, and it kind of moved the story along as much as the visuals did. And I think that most of Refn films, especially Drive and Only God Forgives, and then later on Neon Demon, I think he really hit his stride, even though he doesn't know he's picking the songs for the wrong reason, but they sound cool. So
maybe he's not though. Maybe he's just like, I just want to evoke something. Like my favorite director of all time is Michael Mann, and nobody shoots driving your car at night scene better than Michael Mann. That guy's been nailing it since he was shooting TV episodes of Miami Vice, right? Like once Refn started doing this, he's like, oh shit, neon. That's what even a colorblind idiot can figure out, that everything looks good splashed with neon. And the next 3 movies, that was his primary canvas, was nighttime, and his primary paint was neon. And he figured that out, and he was like, that pink and purple and blue 1980s font shit, once he figured out that's great, he just started making really beautiful movies.
Yeah.
So I think the synthwave wasn't a mistake. I think that was the kind of thing he wanted to evoke. He was like,
oh, for sure,
you think you're back in the 80s watching that episode of Miami Vice with with the Phil Collins thing, that the whole In the Air Tonight when he's driving the Ferrari, that whole scene. Yeah. Like,
I mean, that's exactly what he's doing. It's very 80s. Yeah. Very neon synthwave. Like it's straight pulling on your nostalgic feels while making you feel super uncomfortable at the same time. So he's like, hey, remember your childhood? It's all hell. All of it. It's just the worst. It's life sucks.
This is how it really went down.
He's specifically pandering to a certain demographic for sure. He's pandering to the people like us, like what you're seeing in that very specific, born in a very specific time. Where you're just like, oh, Stranger Things is the greatest thing because 80s, and it's
you make it sound like we're such suckers. Like he developed
But at the same
the
time, he's
perfect
probably
Skinner's
not.
box for millennials.
At the same time, he's probably not though. He's probably just like, hey, you know what? I lived the '80s and I grew up then. Like that's cool music to me, and like I like neon stuff, so I'm gonna put that in there. Like he probably wasn't trying to do anything.
Well, filmmakers have been doing that forever, since film has been. It's like the people making John Wayne films because they grew up listening to stories of cowboys riding into town. That's just what every generation does. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I mean, pander to me because it's working. But, everyone needs their special sauce, and good kudos to him for kind of figuring out what really works for a certain demographic. But let's move along to Only God Forgives. Manny, you were a brave enough soul to say this is your favorite film of his. So
yeah,
how could I not give this to you? You tell me what this shit's about.
There's a lot. It's a God metaphor. Like Only God Forgives. Chang is God in this film. Like there's several hints to it. Like when he pulls off his sword from behind him, there's like nothing behind him really. Like, he just pulls it off.
It comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. So like you don't know where the fuck this is. He's always surrounded by like these police officers. So and that's supposed to represent like angels. Like God.
Oh god, the shootout scene when everyone's spraying bullets and like
and he knew beforehand.
And the other two cops like empty a clip. And then he just stands up and fucking fires one shot from a revolver and just KOs a dude.
Yeah. It's
like a video game.
He's just like, I pass judgment on you.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't he just like has all the cops round a dude up and then he just looks at him. He's like, what's your excuse? You know what you did.
He's like shit. Like
if you think of the first person he passes judgment on in the movie, it's not the American for killing the tiger.
Yeah,
it's the father.
It's the father
selling her out.
Yeah. And he's punishing him by cutting off his hand.
I wouldn't say that the metaphor is that he's God. I would say he's the angel of death.
Yeah, he's like Gabriel type.
Yeah,
he's the Old Testament God.
Yeah, that's probably the best way of putting it. The film's very hypnotic. Like a lot like Neon Demon. Like just like the colors, is like the surreal, like mysticism to it. Between like the clash of Eastern and like Western cultures, it's just stunning to look at. Like that fight between Chang and Gosling when they're fighting like in the boxing area and like just like this.
He means Ryan Reynolds. He's confused.
When they're fighting in like the ring and you just see like this red dragon staring at this fight. It's like this demon or like the devil
contrast
watching this fight. And just this contrast, like Chang's home, if you look at it, it's very peaceful. It's light colors. There's nature, trees around it. And then when you go to like Bangkok and like the fighting ring is just like red and yellow lights representing hell. It's just, I'm a sucker for like Christian imagery and storytelling. And it has everything I love about it. So yeah, it's just one of the few things about why I love it. I wrote some more notes about it.
This was my favorite until Neon Demon.
Sure. Well, I still like Drive more, but
Neon Demon I like a lot. Like
this is my like least favorite.
Wow.
Really?
All right, go. You go.
Okay.
I watched this for the first time last night, and I think this movie is too slow for its own good. Like people don't talk like that. People don't take like 30 seconds between each sentence to like have a conversation, or when they walk at like the slow pace. Like every fucking scene takes so long. I'm like, just talk, just have a goddamn conversation, please. Just move on. Can we just like, please explain what's happening? And yeah, and I mean it's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. But it takes just like if these people talked in a normal way, the movie would be like a half hour long.
But it's even more than just talking slow. It's the shots. Like there's where I almost said fucking Ryan Reynolds. Goddamn, Ryan Gosling is standing there in like in that little awning, feeding a dog, and it doesn't even move the shot to someone else's point of view. Things are entering his shot.
Yeah.
Like you have to follow it that way because Refn was just so goddamn lazy to switch the camera.
I don't know if it was laziness.
I
I
don't
think
think,
he was going
I don't
for
think
an
it was
effect.
laziness. I think
Okay, maybe it wasn't laziness, but it just felt like I get what Tony's saying, where it's just like I get it.
Jarring.
I get it,
You
but
meant
let's
to be
move it.
jarred.
And it's just about a boy that's trying to stick his hand into people. Like he's constantly trying to put his hand in that girl's vagina. He's constantly trying to put his hand in his wife or in his mother.
He loves.
Yeah,
Refn, he loves hands.
In that opening scene, he just stares at his hands.
Yeah,
and then you get that final moment of him
No,
staring at his
that
hands.
moment, what's so great when he's like looking, when the first time you see him, he's like kind of like have his fist up like he's fighting, and behind him is like the statue in the same kind of position. When he's fighting Chang is in the same position as that statue, so it's kind of like foreshadowing all that stuff.
Sure.
And
that was probably an accident. No, you know what?
Well, it looks
one of those interviews
out of here yesterday. Yeah,
Refn said when he was a kid, his mother would put Vaseline on his hand and put gloves on his hands while he slept, and that's why he's got really soft. He's like the Bizarro Tarantino. He's got a hand fetish rather than a foot fetish. Seriously, that's a real thing. The more I learn about Refn, the more I'm like, oh no, I hate this fucking guy.
This is very much a fairy tale, but it's actually the fairy tale of Tom Thumb, because every time he stuck his hand into someone, I thought he was going to pull it out and be like, what a good boy am I? And I'm like, why is he putting his hand in everyone? It's just, I don't know. It's very, and it's very slow moving. It has some weird like sexual overtones and undertones and all the tones. The mother is just the worst.
The mother is Kristen Scott Thomas. Do you believe that shit?
Isn't that crazy? I
didn't even recognize her.
The movie reminded me a lot
wig
of
on the chick from the other Boleyn girl, and she's like a fucking Lady Macbeth. What the shit?
Yeah,
the film reminds me a lot of like this show called Animal Kingdom, where like this grandmother who looks a lot like the mom in this film. She kind of runs like this drug organization, or like of her family.
That's on TNT, right?
Yeah, I only saw the first season. I haven't finished that series, but it reminds me a lot of that. And she just conveys like this raw, like sexual power. That's just like,
or she's talking about her two sons' cock length to the whore that her son brought to dinner. Like, oh my god!
And she's the frumpy chick from The English Patient.
Yeah.
What a transformation. And you know what? She didn't really act after this that much. She did a little bit, but she kind of said when she made this that she was kind of retiring from movies. And then she made a bunch of movies, but she said she was basically done in like 2014.
There was quite a bit to like about this film. I don't want to shit on it too bad because again, the imagery was immaculate. But just the story over substance, or the style over substance type thing, rang so true in this movie for me, because again, I'm just like, yes, I get it. And everyone, I heard a lot of people shit on the ending of this film, of how it kind of ends.
I love the ending.
Spoiler or whatever. But it's like, why don't you get it? It's like it's kind of a confirmation, or it was the end of an apex of his arc. And
he's like, Rick, like the character Julian, I'm sorry for cut you off.
No, go.
The character Julian, like, he's just kind of like seeking reconciliation.
Yeah.
Because
and he thought the fight was enough. That's what he wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
He wanted lower stakes. He thought he was going to get out of it with a lot lower stakes. And then they're like, oh shit, someone's going to kill my mom and we got to kill a bunch of fucking kids. Like, oh, this shit isn't over.
Mm-hmm. And like, it's, how do I say this? I wrote down notes for this. Like, he just, Ryan Gosling clearly hates his position in life. Like, he does not like his brother. He does not love his mother. But he feels obligated to follow them because they're his family.
Yeah.
And when he tries to resolve the situation and realize that he can't, like, he accepts his fate and his punishment in the end. And I just, again, like, the Christian metaphors to it, growing up in Catholic school and learning all this stuff, it was like, I just could not love it, you know?
What did you like about this, Tony?
I mean, it's really pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I mean, I think it's really pretty. It's a really pretty movie. I just looked up Rotten Tomatoes because I was curious. Because I remember when Only God Forgives came out, because we still had a video rental place in town, and I remember seeing the cover, being like, I need to watch this movie, and then I watched it last night for the first time. But yeah, it's got a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, 37% audience score.
Yeah, it's very divisive. More
yeah, well,
towards
fucking
negative.
audience. Like, I bet Transformers Knights of the Round Table has a fucking 80% on
Oh my god, that movie.
audience score. And like this, I think a lot of critics wanted Drive, didn't get it. They were pissed. And I think a lot of audiences wanted Not to Think as Hard. Seriously. This was nominated for the Palme d'Or, and I was like, why didn't it win? And then I looked at what else came out that year.
What one?
Blue is the Warmest Color.
It's a good movie, but
Inside Llewellyn Davis was nominated. Nebraska was nominated. This was nominated. And The Immigrant. And then like a bunch of other films that whatever, but
I don't know. Did you like this film, Jason?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This was my favorite until Neon Demon came out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did say that. Dude, this movie got a lot of shit for the scene, like the Reservoir Dogs scene.
Oh, well.
Did you guys have a problem with that?
No, because
nah, I don't have a problem with violence.
I have a problem with him saying I'm a pornographer when you look at this in retrospect, knowing he said some pretentious shit like that.
He's just wanking. Yeah.
Oh, it's torture porn. Like whatever. Like the Bangkok cops are fucking brutal because like look what goes on in their country. Like they're just trying to clean the place up. I get it. That torture scene was a little gratuitous, but it was supposed to be unsettling. The fact that they didn't excuse the women, they just made them sit there, but told them not to look.
Yeah, close their eyes. It was just it was, and it's like let this be a lesson to them. Like it was just
It was supposed to be brutal. Like they were making a point. God was passing judgment. Like.
And whenever I'm sorry,
the religious metaphors are a little clumsy because it turns out Refn doesn't really know what he's doing, but like, I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was effective, and it was supposed to be unsettling, but beautiful. I think if he's primarily going to make movies that are shot at night with a bunch of neon and shit and bright colors everywhere, I think that's his wheelhouse. I think he finally figured out he doesn't have to be a good filmmaker to make effective movies.
He figured it out so hard that his next movie has neon in the title.
Yeah.
Oh man! Before we move on, that one scene, I'll just keep calling it the Reservoir Dog scene, made me reminisce about another scene in the Princess Bride at the end, when he's actually telling Prince Humperdinck what he's going to do. You know, I'm going to chop off your
we're
arms.
Not going to fight to the death. We're going to fight to the pain.
To the pain. And that was, I'm like, this is actually watching someone do that to someone. That was the uncut, that was the director's cut version of The Princess Bride, which I found pretty hilarious. I did chuckle quite a bit because after a while, it did kind of like stabbing him with the chopsticks. I was like, "Oh, that's pretty fucked up." But then once it's like close-ups of eye gouges and ear gouges and shit like that, that's when I started to chuckle because it gets to that point where it's just so over the top that you could do nothing else but laugh.
But the fact that everything else about the scene was so strange. The fact that there were those women like all dressed, all prim in really nice dresses with their eyes politely averted, and like all those dudes staring and not saying anything, like the whole thing was upsetting. It was unsettling.
It was,
and the fact that the one guy was a stranger in that country, and everybody else was Thai but him, and he was just getting jacked up. Like the whole thing was upsetting, and the fact that the violence was cartoonish, I thought was necessary. It's kind of like when you are fucking with your friend, but you want them to know that you're fucking with them. So what you say is so over the top, there's no way you could possibly mean it. The violence felt like that, you know?
For me, this film's just so mesmerizing. And like the karaoke scenes with Chang, I dug same. Like when all the cops are just like looking at him, like in admiration of this dude, like just like in love with what he's singing. And you know, he's not like the best singer ever. Like they're just so in awe with him. And like how Just, to me, it's just beautiful.
Like, hey, you gotta let him do it.
Yeah.
That last song he sings, I thought it was the Thai version of Motley Crue's "Home Sweet Home." The first. Go back and watch that scene. It sounds like Motley Crue's "Home Sweet Home" with different lyrics. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's not, but it sounds like it.
It is. It's like an analog version of like an angel coming back from battle and just kind of deeming patting all the other warrior angels on the head. That's like his little thank you to that little room of his followers. And like you said before, Manny, at the beginning of this, where I do like that, and I didn't even really pick it up. His little house is so fucking regular. Like, his little girl just has like a desk. It's not very extravagant. It's just like there's dishes on the table. It's super simple.
It's also the only shot they shot during the day. The stuff in his house where there's sunlight coming through, everything's bright, nice pastel colors, a lot of like, you don't see any vegetation in the rest of the movie.
And
if you don't see any natural sunlight.
And in one scene when he's like swinging like his sword around and outside, you see like out in the sky, like it's like this red yellow-ish hue to it, and that's like what I see is like representing like hell into like what's to come at night, which is Bangkok.
And it's kind of intruding on his little serene little backyard.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. He's prepping himself to go into hell again and to get shot at just trying to grab a bowl of noodles.
Exactly.
Like, he hangs out in hell every night trying to clean it up and pass judgment, and then he basically lives in the exact opposite. And if you notice, that was really the only time they shot during the day was inside his house.
Yeah,
you're right.
That was a good catch.
Yeah, I mean, this movie, more so than any of his others, I think, stands for a rewatch. Not because it's like, oh, you didn't get it the first time, stupid, but there is a lot going on. I do agree with Tony. It needs to be maybe 20 minutes shorter.
I mean,
just watch it at 1.5 speed.
There you go.
No one talks, so the dialogue won't sound weird.
I'll like listen to you guys talk about how much you guys like it and all the things you're pointing out. It makes me go, all right, maybe I'll give this movie one more shot. Like it deserves a rewatch. Like
this movie is a hot dumb chick, and you're focusing too much on how dumb she is. She doesn't have to talk when she looks that good. That's what he figured out.
Ryan Gosling is. You fuck.
You said. God damn. No, you said Gosling.
Now I'm second guessing.
Now you're second guessing yourself. I got it in your head.
Fucking son of a bitch. All right, let's round this out. Let's go to my favorite film, The Neon Demon. This movie,
mine too.
Okay,
this is a great one.
This is just utter trash.
I've said on another episode of this podcast, I was like, I figured it out. The Neon Demon is L.A.
It's about witches, bro.
She moves there and she got eaten. He's like, no, I decided halfway through the movie, Elle Fanning, Jessie character, she's the Neon Demon, but I kind of figured out that Ruby, played by Jenna Malone, she's kind of the Neon Demon too. I'm like, you were so dumb. How did you make such a good fucking movie, you idiot? I thought I figured it out. I was like, oh, so this movie is about the Neon Demon, which is L.A. The people move there, and she's got it. Everyone tells Jessie she has it. All the other models are jealous of her and envy her success. Like, everyone's like, oh, you're 16. Lie about your age so you can start modeling now because you're the hottest shit to come to LA off a bus from Wichita ever.
Tells her this, yeah.
And she's got all the archetypical characters, the high school boyfriend, well-meaning dude that you leave behind as soon as you make it, the dude that's trying to seduce you, the fucking sleazeball played by Keanu Reeves, like the cameraman trying to bang you. Like, you think you have all this power, but really you don't have any power because the city will eat you alive. I figured it out. LA's the Neon Demon. He's like, no, she is. Everybody was a normal person until she came to town. And the Jenna Malone starts going down on corpses because she came to town. Like, what?
No, I thought the Neon Demon was like the two models and Jenna Malone, like because they're witches. Like in the end of the day, like They put the spell on, like trying to like find out what she felt.
But they all felt powerless next to her. And if you at the end of the movie where God, who's the real model? Bella Heathcote?
Oh, no. Yeah.
She vomits up the eyeball because her body rejects. Right. She can't steal her power. She like killed her and devoured her, but she still could. She didn't have it, and you can't get it. Right. And that was like the only thing I thought that he agreed with.
I'm with you on this though. I really I just watched this movie today, like literally, like I finished it just an hour before we started this podcast. I agree with you. I was thinking LA was the Neon Demon. Like that was the vibe that I got from the film. And I enjoyed this movie a lot. And I didn't I don't know, about halfway through I was like, all right, so what the fuck's this movie about? I mean, where's this going exactly? I'm waiting for the Refn ending, you know what I mean? Like when's shit gonna hit the fan and it's gonna get really violent? Like I was just like waiting for that the whole time. And it happens. It does, but it happens in this movie in like the last 10 minutes. What
if someone just walked through the desert while a Sia song played like it's the fucking series finale of 6 Feet Under? Like what? That's how you end this movie?
I cried during that finale. That was a great finale.
Oh, the 6 Feet Under one?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. For sure.
That was a heartbreaker. Yeah, Becky in the chat says there was some beautiful, or no. Oh, it was she said it was like Showgirls for art students. Kind of.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that works.
I love the scene, the neon. I think it's called the demon dance. I think it's like when she's in the first time in the club, and there's those triangles and this woman in bondage, I believe. That's just so the first time I watched it, I was like, what the fuck is this?
But then you hear him, he's like, I needed to come up with a symbol for the Neon Demon. Yeah. So I was like, the triangle is a very ancient symbol, and I put it upside down, so it's very feminine. And then it's made it 3 triangles to represent the 3 characters, Gigi, Ruby, and
Jaji.
Whoever else. Yeah, it's the JJ. Like, you ruined it for me.
I figured it out.
You made this by accident.
I figured this out. Refn is not really Nicolas Winding Refn, the one that you see doing interviews. There's an actual genius that doesn't come out of the room, and he
doesn't tell the interview guy
exactly.
Anything.
Yeah, he just sends his idiot nephew out to answer questions.
Yeah, the guy that's actually Banksy. The guy doing the interviews is Banksy. Exactly. It's like my mom used to put Vaseline on my hands, touch them, see how soft they are.
And the real one's in an earpiece is get the fuck back in the room. Yeah. This is true. I mean, because there's no way that this guy makes these movies. But going back to that scene,
I could never make anything this good on purpose, and the fact that he makes it by accident really pisses me. I want to devour him and get his powers
and eat his eyeball. But that scene, out. I kind of didn't like that scene because I'm like, I could make that on my shitty mobile editing app, but in context, it was kind of cool. It's just you could really and I love this. This is my favorite Winding Refn film, and I'm going to shit on it for a second because in context, it's great. All the pieces fit together in this movie. But then, you think about it, it's he just shot these girls in a dark room with a little bit of lighting, and then he put literal text images of upside down triangles on there. And I'm like, God, how low effort is that?
It's not. I don't think it's low effort. I think it's extremely creative and really budget saving. The majority, there's a lot of this movie that's just shot in a studio with an infinity wall. It's just a bunch of stuff. It's just this wall is gonna be white or it's gonna be black, and we're gonna use a bunch of neon colors. There's a lot of that in this movie.
That's supposed to feel like a dream sequence. And it was funny because one of the times where he did that infinity wall, it was literally a photo shoot. So you got to see. Yeah. This is how the city does it. This is what LA's all about.
Yeah, I love that sequence. The sequence.
Reality is just as fake as the dream sequences.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite moment in the movie is that first time she goes to the photographer and he paints her in gold. I love that sequence so much, and I don't really know why I love it so much, but it's because you see the infinity wall and you see the camera kind of pan from it and then reveal the room that they're in, and it's just so uncomfortable. And I really like that actor a lot. He was like one of the
Desmond Harrington. Yeah, he was in
Dexter.
Yeah.
I really
he
like
plays such a meathead. It just seemed like a kind of a misfit for him, but like he did a really good job with it.
Yeah, I really like that sequence. I like when he starts to paint her in gold. It's just like, okay, so you're a weird guy, but you're not necessarily a creep, and you got like some like I don't know. It's uncomfortable, but also beautiful, and I loved it a lot.
Yeah, it didn't look like he was trying to fuck her though. Like it looked like he was like too in
don't know that
everyone
at
was
first.
too in awe of her to do that, except for Jenna Malone. Like Jenna Malone was just absolutely obsessed with like the lust aspect of her beauty. Everyone else kind of viewed it as, some people were in awe of it. Some people took it as this like, we need to snuff this out because this is as good as it gets. And it just, everyone else pales in comparison.
Everyone had their own weird reaction to it.
Yeah.
With that photographer, I know I just got back, but with that photographer, like you don't know what he's gonna do to her when he tells everyone to leave. So like I thought, like, oh shit, he's gonna do something fucked up. But then
it's gonna be that scene from Fame where he's like, "You want to work in this town? Show me your titties." Yeah.
Just like that too.
But he slathers her with like this gold paint on her, and it's so much more like sensual to it, and like really kind of like portrays her as like this goddess.
For sure,
because she has like what no one else has.
And it's weird, like every character had their own unique reaction to her. Like a lot of the women kind of felt washed up and old next to her and like, oh, that's the new shit. No one cares about me anymore.
If you're 21 years old, you're done in this business. That's what
the gay casting director got his first erection for a woman ever. Like Jenna Malone is like, oh, I like chicks now. Like everybody had their own people who lusted after her or tried to kill her or like hated her. It was really interesting.
I have a question actually about so with Jenna Malone's character, when she like made out with that cadaver, what was that supposed to mean?
Well, she was thinking of how it would be because she just got rejected by the main character, and then the whole time that she's basically having sex with this cadaver, she has her in mind.
She's fantasizing.
Yeah, she's completely fantasizing about her, and that's I think when it kind of clicks, where it's just like this is as close as it's going to be. So instead of having her from afar in another room, if I can't have her, I'm just gonna bathe in her blood, literally and figuratively.
That's fair. Yeah.
I love the attention to detail in that scene where she spits in the cadaver's mouth just to loop it up a little bit so she can make out with it better.
Yeah,
pretty great.
That's the kind of shit that when you get sex education at 8 years old, you think of those. A non-Danish director would have messed that up.
Right.
Sure. That was a Verhoeven scene for sure. Oh man, yeah, I love her art too because she just and it paints, like I said, kind of earlier on, where it's just like this is definitely a tale of two movies because she starts out this doughy-eyed like,
well, it's two movies because he figured out what he was doing halfway through. He said that in an interview.
Yeah, she's just like, I'll go on a date with you. You shot these cool little pictures, golly gee, I'm a 16-year-old. And then, it gets to a point, I think pretty much to the point where the gold painting scene. And that's when she's just like, no, I am the shit.
No, it's the runway.
Dangerous.
It's the runway scene. It's when she's like making out, when she like kisses herself in like the triangle, like mirror thing.
Yeah.
Like that's like her transformation scene. Like she goes from being the doughy-eyed, like new to LA to like now this is who I am, and she realizes that she has all this power over everyone because everyone wants to be her. Like she wanted to be them when she got there, and now she's realizing everyone wants to be her. Like I love all that. The only scene in the movie that doesn't make any fucking sense to me is why was there a goddamn mountain lion?
I know.
Oh, okay, I can answer that. Actually, I believe that's kind of the way I interpret it is that like that scene happened after like she was at the club with like the models, and the models in my mind are witches, so I felt like they kind of sent like a mountain lion to kind of like scout her to see like who
maybe
she
even
is, where she is.
Subconsciously, like it was a manifestation of their envy and malice toward her.
Sure.
Yeah, that could also be it. I love the reactions of those of the two models when she outshines them. Elle Fanning outshines them. Like when like in the runway tryout, like one starts crying and the other one's like at the diner, and she's like, "Oh, well, you're too fake," because like you could tell if someone has like plastic on them, and like just the reactions to it and like this loathing of Elle Fanning is just so good.
Yeah, I love the line when she says like, you know, it's LA, everybody, you know, or she says nobody likes who they are, or something like that, and Elle Fanning says, you know, like I do. Like,
Yeah.
and I love, that's one of my favorite parts of the movie too, is just when she says that, because just the reaction from the other model being like, who clearly hates herself, she's had all this plastic surgery done and all this stuff.
Well, and the way she delivers it to the boyfriend when she kind of is breaking up with him, when she's like, no, and she says it almost in like a, "Oh, you poor sweet child," you know. She goes, "No, I don't want to be like them. They all want to be like me." But she says it in such like she's talking to a child, like a small child. I thought she did a fucking fantastic performance in this film.
I think everybody does a great job in this movie.
I'm not a fan of Elle Fanning that much, but I thought like this is hands down my favorite performance of hers.
She's fine. There's no
and I was surprised that Keanu Reeves is in this because I completely forgot. Like I think I knew
he
that
barely needed to be in this movie.
Yeah, he couldn't replace him with anyone else.
Could have been anybody.
He's like, "Oh, I'm the skeevy guy who owns the hotel, and I just lust after the girls." Like, you're Keanu Reeves. You could fuck whoever you want. He's like, "Oh my God, you're right." Whoa.
I forgot.
You don't have to corner girls in a cheap motel. You could just go to a bar.
He wasn't even skeevy with her though. He was just like mean.
He was an asshole. Yeah,
I didn't understand his character at all. Like that could have been taken out, and the movie would have been just
right. And there's that moment, like that weird, like kind of dream sequence where he like puts a knife in her mouth.
Right.
Like what? Why?
It was a metaphor for something.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Wider.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a meaning behind that. What it is, I can't answer.
It's
not necessarily, because like if you ask him, he's like, "Oh, I had that idea.
Yeah.
I was sitting by the pool with my hot wife, and I had the idea of Keanu Reeves putting a knife in someone's mouth.
I had
I wrote my dream journal, and then later I was like, oh, what if I put Keanu Reeves in this movie?" Like so much of this is just ideas he has that are disjointed, and he just puts as many of them as he can into a fucking movie and shakes it up. Like, I'm so mad that he's not a genius. I thought, oh my God, like
it's
he's
like
making these movies that are so smart that people just want to drive again, but like he gave them something that's a little smarter and less accessible, and they're not willing to put in the effort to think about it. But here's me. I'm willing to look at the visual metaphors this guy's making. And he's just like, "Nope, I'm an idiot." And I'm like, "Oh, why am I?"
I'm colorblind.
He writes like the like that episode of South Park where the manatees write all the episodes of Family Guy.
It's that scene, the whole Keanu Reeves with the knife scene. I think, Jason, you're giving him too much credit, because I just think he's like, I need an uncomfortable scene right now, and he's like, what was similar to this that I've done? Oh, the Bronson lotion scene where he's like, faster, like put the lotion on my body faster. So he's like, wider, open your mouth wider for
not my asshole, you cunt. Like,
whoa.
That's what
Now when a British person says cunt, it's fine, right?
Right. Yeah, it's just like saying trolley, I guess.
Yeah, those two words are synonymous in England.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Stick it in me, trolley.
Becky also says in the chat, it also implies that Jenna Malone's character rapes the bodies on a regular basis. She's not good enough to be a model. She just paints them, always taking leftover scraps. Yeah.
I like that.
I feel like she's like also like the scout of like the models, like,
but she's kind of the main bitch though, right?
I think she is, yeah, because like she's the one that discovers Elle Fanning, because like clearly she's like, she has several jobs and she works with like high top models. So why is she working in with like a wannabe, or not a wannabe, but like a low life an amateur photographer? Yeah, exactly. It's to scout these types of people, these types of women who are beautiful. And she's kind of, that's like her
She's a gnat to the flame. She's a fly to the light. She just wants to be a part of anything, whether it be on an amateurish level or the most professional level. She just wants to be around these things because she's like absorbing the beauty by osmosis until she's not. That's the thing where like I could accept the the cannibalism and the eyeball eating and even the fucking mountain lion to an extent. What was the kind of the like? That's when it really kind of the wheels fell off. What was with the whole ritual, the pagan ritual, so to speak? It was that in my opinion, I thought she was gonna like birth Ella Fanning again, like kind of like a Game of Thrones, like
Oh, and you're talking about like her laying on the floor with all the guts and stuff. Let's say that moment, I was just like, where is it coming from? Like where is this coming from? Like I don't like she ate her, right? So like is she just real bad diarrhea? Is this where is this coming from exactly? I just want to know.
Yeah, I didn't get that part because then is that are we now validating that kind of spirituality in this kind of universe, or is it just literally that's just how she was expelling her? I don't know. That was the one part of the movie where I was kind of scratching my head and I'm like,
no, I think she tried to steal her essence and her body rejected it.
But she looks like she's in ecstasy when she's expelling it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't get that part.
But that was literally what he said in an interview. So we can argue with him, but
yeah, anyone have his number? We have a lot of questions.
Guess what? You know how we thought Julian Winding was related to Nicolas Winding Refn?
Yes.
No. Julian Winding is the daughter of Brigitte Nielsen.
What?
And the Danish composer Casper Winding, who did the soundtrack for the movie The Flying Devils and The Riot Club and POV and a bunch of other Danish films no one's heard of.
No.
Huh. One thing I've noticed with his films is that he always has like
Winding just might be the Smith of Denmark. Who knows? But that's Brigitte Nielsen's son.
Wow. What's she been doing lately?
Flavor Flav?
What were you saying, Manny? No. Well, what I noticed with his films, like after, like right when the film ends, he always dedicates his film to someone else. So it's a lot like an author or an auteur in this case, where like this film is dedicated to someone he knows or for someone he likes.
Did anyone not crack up when she ate the fucking eyeball? At that point, it was so over the top. I was laughing like audibly.
I was confused more than anything.
I laughed audibly, like from her throat, like right when the eyeball was like on the floor. I was just like, "That's hilarious," and then she ate it, and I was just like, "It's more like uncomfortable laughs."
But didn't it feel a little like kind of dumbed down from the rest of the film? Like I don't know.
But I don't know. I've been when you start watching these movies enough,
let me make this visual metaphor obvious for you idiot Americans, but apparently no.
It wasn't my favorite
I thought it was
part.
like Verhoeven would be like, "Look, RoboCop's literally walking on water, you stupid fucks." Because like if Verhoeven was right, we are dumb. Because like he basically made RoboCop, which is like a skewering of American corporate culture in the 80s, plus the perfect Jesus allegory, and like 20 years go by, 30 years go by, and they're like, we should remake this. What was the most salient element of the movie RoboCop? Was it the Jesus allegory? No. Was it how it was a skewering of American corporate culture? No. It was the fact that a dude was a cop, but also a robot.
It was.
I never saw the remake. Actually, I heard it's not good.
It's not good.
Yeah, don't watch it.
I've heard.
Don't bother, because they didn't. I mean, Michael Keaton is surprisingly good in it, but like that's it. He didn't need to be in it. They're sort of like, oh, it's an indictment of how we treat the troops coming back from Iraq or whatever. But like, nah, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
They just they cut out all the salient elements of what made the first one such a good movie. I wouldn't buy it for $1. That's my review.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. So if we're gonna rank all these, so I think that's 2 for Neon Demon, 1 for Only God Forgives. Is Drive yours, Tony?
My favorite's Bronson, but I would say it's Bronson, I would say it's Bronson and then Drive and then Neon Demon, or maybe Bronson, then Neon Demon, and then Drive. I don't know. I really liked Neon Demon a lot, but I just watched it, so I feel like I haven't got a chance to like really let it like sit in.
You haven't you might throw it up later, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
fully
definitely.
digested.
That movie definitely sticks with you, man. There's some stuff that you just can't unsee.
Yeah.
It's just trash.
It looks so good. Like, I wish he'd never said anything about it. Every interview, they're like, who's the Neon Demon? He's like, I don't know. What do you think? Like, if he'd done that, I would be like, oh, he's so good.
No, but he has to be like, well,
actually,
he did a 30-minute interview on the DVD extras for the Neon Demon, and I watched all of it on YouTube, and I just threw up at the end of it.
So Jason knows not what to do for the next director's cut. Watch any interviews from the filmmaker. I wanted to, you know what? I don't want to sound like an idiot. I don't want to come with the wrong takes. I'm like, has he ever confirmed what some of these metaphors meant? I'm like, they weren't metaphors to him. He's just like, I like the idea of someone being in an empty swimming pool.
it looked good. That's for sure.
Boy. All right. Well, that's it. That is Nicolas Winding Refn, ladies and gentlemen, for this episode of Director's Cut. And I want to thank all the guests or all the co-hosts on this panel. Let's start with our special guest tonight, Mr. Manny Castellanos. Thanks for coming back, sir.
Thanks for having me. I guess I could plug in some of my stuff. And well, you can find me on my podcast at Reel on Reel. It's a podcast where I just talk about movies where I or my guests talk about movies that have inspired us or affected us in some way in our life. You can also find me on Geeks of Color. I write reviews and articles over there. And yeah, that's I'm on Twitter a lot at Manny_Castell. So you can find me there. And yeah.
Awesome. Mr. Tony Walters, thanks for coming back, talking Refn. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Rad Entertain on Facebook and Twitter, and you can find me at youtube.com/Rad Entertainment, where we do movie reviews, vlogs, video game shows. We talk about The Walking Dead. We also produce movies. We have a movie we did with Troma here that'll be out maybe beginning of next year called Kill Dolly Kill. So keep a lookout for that. And at the end of this month, we have Midwest Horror Fest in Logansport, Indiana at the State Theater. If you want to come check out 47 independent horror films over 3 days with a burlesque show, a bunch of music, and some beer, it's a good time.
You live a lot more entertaining life than I do, sir. And last but not least,
it's a really busy life. I wouldn't. It's just my life.
Nice. And from the Brainstorm Brewery and all the other things in the Magic the Gathering world, but now talking movies all the time, Mr. Jason Alt, where can everyone find you, sir?
I'm at Twitter at Jason E. Alt. I'm on Reddit and Facebook, and you can check out my Magic the Gathering Finance podcast, Brainstorm Brewery. You can check out the articles I write. I don't know. Google my name, man. Shit. I don't know. I can do everything for you. If you thought my rhetoric was a little strong tonight, I'm sorry you like Tom Hardy so much, but thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. We really appreciate that. A, for the support, and B, there's some weird YouTube metric where, like, if they don't watch your video all the way to the end, you don't get money or some shit. So thanks for watching.
Yeah. I mean, these are just, I mean, we watch entire fucking filmographies for you people. So share it around, do all the stuff like sub.
Not you and I, John.
What?
We lose faith in our heroes.
We watch half of this filmography for these people.
Yeah. I only miss 2 of them, so.
We kill all of our darlings for your entertainment.
Yeah, that's right. Find me right here on this very channel. They said, we said. You can also find me on Twitter, Reddit, all that stuff at Orzov Dunn. Or find me on the other things. I don't really go on Facebook or anything anymore. But yeah, until next time, I'll tell everyone on Twitter who we're reviewing next. Probably something Halloween related, because I think it's right around that time of year. The pumpkin spice lattes are flowing freely like blood in Refn movies. So we'll see you at the movies. Bye.